Current lightweight champion Islam Makhachev is going to move up to the welterweight division to face Jack Della Maddalena. UFC 317 International Fight Week, June 28th. You all know Ilia Topuria, undefeated, 16-0, vacated his featherweight title. And now he's moving up to lightweight, and he will face former lightweight champion and number 2 ranked Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. Yes, vacant. Yes.
Against all expectations, the highly anticipated clash between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria won't be happening during International Fight Week. But fear not, fight fans, because we're getting an equally explosive showdown: Charles Oliveira versus the Georgian-Spanish matador. Tension is already in the air, fueled by the former champ's cocky statements, and Charles is dead set on making Topuria answer for his words. In today's breakdown, we dive into a tense collision between two titans of their divisions and ask the big question: can Ilia impose his pace on DuBronx, or will he be exposed by one of the most dangerous fighters in UFC history? But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to our channel if you don't want Tony to step up. Let's go! After the Georgian-Spanish phenom dethroned 2 featherweight goats, he made a bold statement about the best fighter in the world.
Mindset, it's always the same. I'm always looking to achieve things that no one could. So someone could submit him, I will be the first one to submit him.
Following his decision to leave the UFC's featherweight division behind, Ilia made it clear he's deep in preparation for a clash with one of 2 names: Islam or Charles.
Yo me estoy preparando para Islam Makhachev. Todos mis entrenamientos realmente están enfocados para Islam o para Charles, porque no veo ningún otro contrincante. Así que tengo esos 2 nombres en mente. Ninguno de los dos parece atreverse. Luego tienen como frases que hacen suyas de que un campeón pelea con el que le digan y tal y cual, y después de que no quiero pelear con él porque es pequeño, luego cambio de categoría, digo, bueno, soy pequeño, ahora estoy en categoría, luego que no he ganado lo suficiente.
According to Topuria's camp, the UFC brass promised him a title shot against one of these guys, and now he's getting ready to make that promise a reality. Islam Makhachev, in turn, made it short and clear he's not interested in a fight with Ilia. However, he didn't leave it at that. Makhachev threw a subtle jab, hinting that if necessary, they could settle things outside the UFC octagon.
100% будет какой-то разговор. Он постоянно говорит про меня, что-то хочет, наверное, донести. Я не понимаю, что он хочет донести. Выйдем, поговорим. Драться хочет. Подеремся, если можно будет.
That's fucking illegal.
Charles was just as brief. He stated that he's ready to fight anyone, as long as a title is on the line.
Eu não corro de ninguém, nunca corri, não vai ser agora que eu vou correr. Eu tô pronto para lutar contra qualquer um desses caras, né? Respeito todos eles, mas vou imprimir meu ritmo e meu jogo. Por que não? Né? Se for pelo título, por que não lutar com o Topuria? Eu tô em busca do título, eu não quero fazer mais uma luta para poder esperar o título, não. Pra mim isso não me interessa, eu quero lutar pelo título.
Bilal is so great that on the night of UFC 315, he became the most talked about fighter in the world.
No.
Everyone was anticipating the showdown between Islam and Ilia, but as a true friend and teammate, Muhammad decided to give Jack a chance to hold the belt, delaying the Topuria versus Makhachev fight by at least 6 months. Realizing the difficulty of securing a deal with Makhachev, the former champion shifted his focus to the Brazilian. Ilia, in turn, didn't hold back on a recent podcast. He reminded everyone that Charles has 10 losses and labeled him a quitter. But let's be real, history hasn't been kind to those who underestimated the former champ.
You don't see that fight going his way?
I don't know. Of course not. but you know, again, I'm a fan of the sport because anything can happen at any time. But he doesn't. What's he gonna? He's not gonna out wrestle him. He doesn't even have the power to shut someone's light out on accident. You know, so no chance. He is a 0% chance.
This is crazy. Absolutely nuts. Through half a round. Gaethje back to work on the leg kick, landed a right hand. Oh! Being knocked down with a right from
You cannot let Oliveira on your back.
He's going to take the arm.
Yep, he's going to take his arm.
He's got it fully locked in.
It's over.
Fully locked in. It's over.
Oliveira's under the chin.
Oh, my goodness.
Switches up the grip.
He's going to go to sleep.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
is going to do it.
This dude right
Who
here,
can
man.
stop Charles Oliveira? 11 in a row.
And let's finally move on to the fighters. In the red corner, we're having the 28-year-old Georgian Spaniard finisher who's here to break MMA fans' hearts again and again. Ilia once stated that he's here to achieve feats no one was able to, and he proves it every single time he steps up in that octagon.
Here since day one that you feel you're going to be the first to knock him out in this fight in MMA.
No doubt about that. What makes me feel very excited about that fight is that no one could knock him out, and I'm like, there is no way I'm not gonna knock him out. I will be the first one to knock him out, because every time I watch him fight, I'm like, I'm way better than him. If you put me only with him in kickboxing or in boxing, even in a chest match, I beat him. Like, well, whatever you wanna do, boy, I can beat you.
The cocky fighter has already knocked out 2 featherweight mastodons, and so far, every word he's spoken has turned out to be prophetic.
Yo no soy ni Korean Zombie, no soy el trapo ni de Jair, no soy ni el paquete de Brian Ortega, no soy ni la nariz torcida de Max Holloway, soy Ilia Topuria y lo voy a machacar en el primer asalto de una forma espectacular, y al que le quepa la mínima duda, que se joda.
According to the former champ himself, his strikes at lightweight have become even more devastating. Now, all it takes is a touch to the head, and his opponent gets immediately sent to another dimension.
Is he fucking awesome?
Topuria's striking has evolved so rapidly that people are starting to forget his roots, the very skills he'll definitely need against Charles. Ilia's a basic Greco-Roman, being also the first ever BJJ black belt from Georgia, which will finally be checked.
Black belt? Who gave him? We have to check that, mom.
The young, bearded knockout artist shocked the world with his crisp combinations and raw power in both of his bricks. The kind of power that can end a fighter's career, or worse. On top of his wrestling base, fast hands, and solid footwork, Ilia has recently added calf kicks to his arsenal, a key weapon that helped him catch Max, making him a southpaw. In the blue corner, we're having the best finisher and one of the most dangerous fighters in history, the man with no haters, Charles Oliveira. The 35-year-old Brazilian rebooted his career after returning to lightweight, putting together a wild win streak and becoming the undisputed champion back in 2021. To this day, Charlie remains a nightmare for any lightweight brave enough to step into the cage with him. Once a classic grappler transformed into a certified finisher, taking out everyone in his path. Dangerous tie clinch, slicing elbows, brutal knees, explosive punches, and calf kicks that chop down trees. That's the wild style of the Brazilian. He'll hug you before the fight, then beat you like you owe him a fortune. We'll start from the ex-champion, Ilia Topuria.
How do you think you would beat Ilia Topuria?
Ilia is known for his wild ambitions, and I wouldn't be surprised if El Matador expresses a desire to test Charles's takedown defense and even tries to submit the best submission artist in the game.
No.
Topuria offered Max to trade punches in the first 10 seconds of their fight, and he also claimed he'd be the first man to choke Islam out. So it's clear that here and now, he'll want to come up with something wild against Du Bronx too. But is that really the smart move? In my opinion, Ilia shouldn't tempt fate by diving into the Brazilian Lion's grappling game. Instead, he should focus on sharp, single shots from close range. work the body, and look for openings to break through Charles's defense, greeting his chin with those Georgian bricks. Despite Charles having a clear advantage in reach and height, he often recklessly crashes into the clinch, and those are the openings Ilia needs to capitalize on. Chopping away at the Brazilian's lead leg and not getting caught up in unnecessary exchanges will be key. Oliveira tends to rely on a high guard, which leaves his body exposed, and that could be the key for Ilia to break him down. One of the main factors for Ilia will also be his footwork and patience. Topuria should not tighten up and retreat in a straight line, because he will be taken down. He should also focus to defend and counter those kicks, cause Oliveira's kicking game is no joke. As for Charles, it's more simple. In his recent fights, he has shown clear improvements in the wrestling department. Just look at Oliveira's takedowns against Chandler. Body lock entries, cage takedowns, and slick single-leg transitions straight to the back take. Charles hunts his opponents like an anaconda, and the moment you give up your back, he'll swallow you whole. Even though Oliveira's striking is more diverse, I wouldn't recommend Charlie to rely on it heavily. He needs to catch Ilia with heavy kicks, target the body, clinch up, land knees and elbows, and look for that takedown. But the risk is high. Despite Charles having the edge in variety, height, and reach, Ilia is younger, faster, and let's not even start on the chin. Oliveira's chin has been forged in absolute wars, but I'm not sure it can take the punishment from El Matador. That's why Charles should use his teeps and constant pressure to push ex-champ to the cage and test that much-hyped 92% defensive wrestling. See how it holds up against the Sharks in the lightweight division. Both fighters are absolute killers and finishers, and the one who manages to impose his rhythm will come out on top. They both thrive on constant pressure and like to fight as the aggressor. So the real question is, who can break the other's will first? In my opinion, Charles is the favorite here, and I'll explain why. Ilia tends to start slow. He needs time to read his opponent and find his timing. But Charles is a predator who comes flying at you from the very first second, throwing with bad intentions and swarming you with chaos. Oliveira doesn't fear taking shots. He doesn't shy away from wild exchanges. Every strike he throws is meant to hurt. I believe Charles will be the aggressor in this fight. He'll push forward, put Ilia on the back foot. He'll take damage. He'll get dropped. But sooner or later, he'll get to Ilia's legs or catch him with something and drag him to the ground. And that's where do Bronx's game begins. Can Ilia get back to his feet if Charles puts him on the canvas? Can Ilia counter the Brazilian in his own element? We'll get our answers on June 29th, but in my eyes, Topuria's only real path to victory is a clean knockout. The question is, can El Matador finish Charles on the canvas, or will he be the one sent to another dimension first? Ilia's physical frame suggests he won't be easy to grapple, and I'm confident he'll put up serious resistance early on. But let's not forget, Charles is the best pure MMA grappler today, and Ilia's fighting at different weight class with different beasts. And if he comes in with the same game plan he used against Chandler, we might see him wrap that belt around his waist once again. On the flip side, if Charles takes the bait from Ilia's trash talk and chooses to brawl like he did against Justin, he's going to sleep, and it'll be brutal. But luckily, Charles does not speak English. Still, I believe that on June 29th, Charles Du Bronx Oliveira will shock the MMA world once again, humbling the ex-champion.